Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video, we are going to be remastering another map that I found on the BTD6 Map browser. So this map is called a Bumsuckers map, so he really didn't choose a custom name for it because the person who created this map is actually called Bumsucker. So it's a little bit of a rather unique name, but I'm not here to judge people's names. I'm just here to remaster some maps. So as you guys can see, this map looks rather interesting, and I really like what he has going on. Like, he has the bridge that goes across the water, but I'm not sure exactly what he was going to do with that pond in the bottom right-hand corner. Plus, he has too many themes going on here, so I thought this would be a really fun and unique map that we could go through and remaster and make it look a little bit better. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change up the pathway. So I like the monkey meadow pathway, but I feel like if you're going to have like a garden path or something like that, you could use a little bit of a better pathway that's a little bit brighter and a little bit more rugged. So the pathway that I'm going to use is I'm going to use this pathway here because I thought this would look rather interesting. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I'll use this one. Maybe I'll use like this one, because I really like this pathway, but I really don't have too many opportunities to use it because there's not too many cases where I can actually use this. But then again, I probably won't be able to use this one because there are some circles in this map. So guys, I know I said that the monkey meadow pathway wasn't going to be the one I wanted to go with, but I think I'm going to have to because I don't feel like this pathway, the pathway that I usually use, looks the best for this map. So I think I'm going to have to go with the monkey meadow path because this one looks good, but I just don't know if it fits the theme of the map. Maybe if we like added some sand, it would be a little bit different, but I don't really like the way that this looks with the green background. All right, so let's go ahead and choose this pathway here. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the pathway set up. All right, so this is going to be the basic layout of the map. Like, it's not too difficult of a map to like lay out because I mean, it just has a double circle. Actually, it has two circles. And then it has the straight path that acts as the bridge. So I want to go ahead and clean this up a bit. All right, so I think those are two good looking circles. Now, obviously, we're going to have to do a little bit of something different with his trees that he has up here because I made the circles a lot bigger. So I think what I want to do is I actually want to make some of my custom-made trees, and we'll turn the custom-made trees into cherry blossom trees. And I think that would look really, really cool. So another thing that I'm debating on doing is I'm debating on adding like a second pathway because on the bottom right here, he has another bridge, but that bridge really isn't doing anything other than just like taking up space. So I thought it would be really cool if we had like balloons come out of the house and we had them go across that bridge and we had them exit in the same spot. So this would turn the map into a little bit of a harder map, but I thought it would be a really interesting concept. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and have a pathway down here. We'll have it come up here, and then we'll have it rotate around this pathway here, and then we'll have it go across the bridge and exit up here like this. So we'll have both of the pathways exit in the same spot. So it'll be like a dual pathway map that should add a little bit of a challenging aspect to this map. But guys, I'm kind of like looking at this map a little bit, and honestly, I think I might take out this upper circle, or maybe I'll turn this circle into, or maybe I'll like take away this circle here, and then I'll make the water feature over here a little bit bigger, because I'm trying to think of like different things to do, and like these giant circles just take up a little bit too much space. Then also, if I do that, if I extend like the water feature from up here all the way down here, I think that would also make it a little bit better instead of like having two different ponds. So if I do that and we keep this circle up here as the only circle, and then have the water fountain in this circle here, I think that would end up looking pretty good. So let me go ahead and edit this path to see how this is gonna look. So we'll have the first bridge go over this area here. And then let me go ahead and move past 2 up just a little bit. And then we'll have like another bridge coming over this area here. And then we'll have this area go down here. Or maybe should I have it like intersect with this pathway a little bit sooner? I think that would be pretty cool, right? If we had like the paths intersect just a little bit sooner. Yeah, I think if we have like the paths intersect like right here, that would instantly add a lot of detail to our map, and it would make a little bit more sense, right? If we had like a dual bridge pathway, and then this pathway will be like this, and then we'll have like a bridge here, house down here, and then we'll add like cherry blossom trees in the bottom here. We'll add a couple of cherry blossom trees up here. We'll add some more cherry blossom trees up here. And then I think that would end up making this map look pretty interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the water feature now. There we go. And I think that really looks solid, right? And then let me see. So I'm gonna have to like rework this pathway a little bit, but let me go ahead and get the bridge set up first. There we go. And I think that looks pretty solid. Like you can see a couple of overlapping spots, but once we add the fences along the outside, that should go away. And then let me go ahead and copy this as well. And then we'll go ahead and bring this one up here. And then we'll have it do the same thing. So we're going to have to like alter it a little bit. Or we're going to have to change this pathway a little bit so the pathway actually goes through the bridge. But I think for the most part, this looks pretty solid. So we have the dual pathways. So this is instantly going to make the map a little bit harder. Like it's still not going to be like super hard because I mean, the first pathway is a little bit longer with this giant circle. And then this pathway down here is going to be the shorter pathway, but I still think it's going to be relatively easy. And then one more thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and change this pathway down here because we need to make the pathway come out of a house. So now that we have the main aspect of the map placed down, we have the water feature, we have the pathways. Now again, I know this isn't like true to the original bum map, because the original bum map had 2 circles, but I thought it would be really cool if we had a double pathway using a second bridge. Because he had the second bridge, he just didn't create the second pathway, right? Well, actually, you know what? Before we start placing down trees, let's add the rest of the detail to our map first. So now the next thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and put in that water fountain too. That way I can get like a general vibe of what the water fountain is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and make the water fountain relatively big, but I don't want to make it too big because if I make it too big, then the house is going to seem a little bit small. So I think I have to reduce this just a little bit. There we go. And I think that's a pretty decent size. And then I'm going to have to find something to put in here. I think if I like add a bunch of flowers around this water fountain, it'll make it look pretty solid. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add these fence posts. And then, how are we going to do this? Because like the one side of it is a little bit weird. Oh, I see what he did. He rotated the fence. So we need to rotate this. And then we need to tilt it like this. Oh my goodness. This is like going to be a little bit tough. Try and like make this blend in as good as we can. Now let's make it a little bit smaller and then rotate it. We're having a little bit of issues here trying to get this fence to blend in. And there's nothing that we could really do to like, dude, this is gonna irk me pretty bad. I hate how they don't have like a singular fence post that we can add. So like add a cap on the end of the fence. Like, why did they design the fence like this where they have an open end on one side? Like, just add one more little pillar here, dude, because that would make it so much easier to like throw fences into your maps. Honestly, I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get it. I had to like tilt the fence so it's like facing towards us. So hopefully this isn't something that stands out too much because I mean like this is the best that we can really do, right? And then let me go ahead and do the same thing up here. We'll have this fence like a little bit more on the bridge because you can actually see the underside of this fence. There we go. And then I need to copy this fence here and then it'll have the same like weird angle, but I think that looks pretty decent. I think that looks pretty decent for a handrail going across the bridge. Now we need to come down here and do the same thing on this bridge. There we go. And I think that looks a little solid. The only downside is that it looks like a couple of the handrails are missing from this side, but that's actually perfectly fine because I'd much rather have it look like a couple of handrails are missing rather than have that like weird angle or like have like the handrail not blend in as well. So now that we have the handrails on the bridge, the next thing I want to do, he has like a bunch of stuff like in the actual pond itself. So I want to remove a little bit of that clutter, but he does have a couple of props that I think look rather cool in the actual pond itself. And the first thing is going to be like a life raft. I will add this because this is actually a prop that I really don't use too much, but this is actually a platform. So if we make it big enough, we could actually make it so like you could place like a wizard monkey on top of this like raft here, or this like not raft but like lifesaver, or I'm not even sure what it's called, dude. I think it's a buoy. It's not a buoy. Like when I was growing up, I was just like called them donuts. So I'm not sure what they're actually called. I feel so dumb for not knowing what they're actually called. But whatever, there's not much that we can do about it, right? All right, so now that we have the 2 buoys or the 2 donuts placed down, I also want to add myself like a little boat as well. Now with this boat, do we want it like on the shoreline, like kind of like curved like this? But if I did that, I mean, it looks good. Oh, I know, maybe we'll add like 2 boats and we'll have them like facing like this. Yeah, that looks so cool. Okay, so we'll have like 2 boats along the shoreline here. And another thing we're gonna have to do, I want to add a little bit of a beach as well. So let me add another area, and then I need to drop this area below our pond. So we'll drop it 1 layer, and then we'll edit the area, and then we'll start adding a little bit of a shoreline. That way it kind of like blends into our map a little bit better. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now let me try to change this area over to the blue. Oh, dude, honestly, the darker pond looks way better with these bridges. Now, what about this? If I turn this into like this darker, like, I don't like it, guys. Like, I think we're just gonna have to stick with the sand, and we're gonna have to add a little bit of detail around the map to add a little bit of extra something to our map. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out some stamps first. Now, because I'm gonna stay true to the trees that he used in his map, I'm gonna add some like of these cherry blossoms, and I'm gonna position these in random spots around the map, and this will add a little bit more detail to our map as well. Now, one thing I didn't like about Bum's map is that he only had like a couple piles of these like leaves, and I feel like just by adding a couple of these, it brings so much life to your map. I wish you would have added more. There we go. Like, we didn't go crazy with the leaves, but we just added like a bunch around like the dock, and then we also added like a little pile down here as well. And that instantly brought so much life to our map. It's crazy. Now I want to start adding some lily pads. I want to add lily pads because, like I was saying, the pond's a little bit too dark, and I don't feel like the dark pond blends in well with like this super green background. So if we add like a bunch of lily pads, that's going to take away from like the super dark pond, and it'll still have that dark contrast, but it won't seem out of place. All right, and along with these lily pads, I'm also going to add a couple of these green ones too, and this will add a little bit more like color to our pond, and it'll add to like the pink theme that we have going on with our map, or that we will have going on with our map. There we go, and that instantly brought so much life to our map. Like, it brought so much like detail and life to this pond that this pond is actually like the primary focus of this map right now. So we're gonna have to add like more detail to the actual background itself. Otherwise, like, this pond is just gonna seem like a little bit too out there. Plus, I still want to add like a rock feature here. I also want to add like another rock over here, and I want to add like another rock over here, because right now, like I said, like the lily pads did a great job at like kind of like blending the dark lake into the actual map itself, but the sand is actually still a little bit like, it doesn't blend into the grassy background as well as I would like it to. So we'll just use like this big rock here. We won't have it like protruding into the water itself, but this will act as a little bit of a barricade, so it'll make the map a little bit harder because you actually can't shoot through these rocks. So that'll add a little bit more detail around our map. Okay, so there we go. And then we'll add like another one up here, like I was saying, and then we'll also like make this one, I think we'll make this one a triple. So we'll have 3 rocks blended into this one, like this. There we go. Yeah, just adding these rocks adds so much detail to the outside of our pond. I love using these rocks. There we go. And just by adding these rock features around the map, it actually added so much detail. Now, the next thing I want to do, I think it's about time I start adding the trees. And that looks really, really cool. I really like the way that looks. Then of course we're gonna have to add some shrubs as well, because we're not gonna get away with like just having these like plain rocks here. So what we'll do is we'll add like shrubs underneath all of these trees on the outside. We'll leave this area a little bit cleaner, but we'll have like the areas under the trees like kind of a little bit overgrown. I think these green shrubs are like the only thing I'm gonna be able to use to like kind of like blend these trees, or kind of like make the underside of these trees not look so barren. And this will also add a little bit of contrast to our map as well. Now, when we're placing down shrubs, we want to make sure that we don't have all the shrubs like the same size, because if we make all the shrubs the same size, it's not going to look as good, right? So when you're using shrubs on your map, remember to like alternate the sizes, because not all shrubs are going to be the same exact size. And if you alternate the size of your shrubs, it'll actually make your map look a lot better. So if you guys are using shrubs, just like keep that in the back of your mind in order to add a little bit more detail to your map. right? And then if you guys are worried, like the map still looks a little bit too bright, once we start adding all the shade to our props, it's really gonna like make all of these props blend in a lot better. So right now, if you feel like it looks a little bit weird, it's just because we haven't added the shade to our map yet. After we add the shade to our map, it's really gonna bring a lot of detail to our map, and it's gonna bring our map to life a lot more. There we go. And just by adding all of these like grubby boys around all of our trees and stuff, that instantly added so much detail to our map. Now we want to be careful that our map doesn't look cluttered, because if our map looks cluttered, it's not gonna look as good. So that's something that we need to keep in the back of our mind. Like, we don't want to add like too many props, because if we add too many props, again, it's gonna make our map look cluttered. So right now up here we have a little bit of clutterage going on. So what I think I want to do, I want to keep this. What can I remove to like kind of remove a little bit of clutter? Maybe if I make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, if I make these like shrubs a little bit smaller and give the map a little bit more like green color up here in the top, that'll like kind of remove a little bit of the clutterage up here in the top left. Yeah, that looks so much better just by making those two shrubs a little bit smaller. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to figure out what I want to do around this water fountain. So an idea I had is like if I took like these like colored bushes, and then I did like a pattern around like the water fountain where they kind of like I don't even know how to explain it, but they just kind of like do a like circle pattern around this water fountain. I thought that would look pretty interesting, but I feel like it just wouldn't look good. So I think what I can do is I can add like a bunch of flowers around this fountain. And then I can mix up the color a bit by adding a couple of different flowers as well. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Like, I was debating on doing something a little bit extra around the fountain, but I like I was saying, I don't want it to be too crazy. You know what I could add? I'm actually going to add a bench. How would the bench look if I placed a bench right here? And like right here and like right here? Like, would that look good, or would it look a little weird with all the flowers underneath it? Well, let me go ahead and place it down to see how it looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? Maybe have like a little gazebo overhang or something like that. No, I feel like that's a little bit too close. Maybe if we like moved it back here a little bit. I kind of like the way that looks, but I wish there was like a trash can that I could like place right next to it. But guys, like, I'm looking at my map and there's not really too much else I have to do other than add the shade. Actually, there is one more thing I have to do. I need to come down here. I need to add these purple flowers somewhere, because whenever I make like a pond or something, I always add these purple flowers, and it usually adds a lot of detail to our map. So we'll add these purple flowers next to our lily pads. Yeah, I really like the way that looks. It looks so cool. All right, now I need to create another stamp layer, and I need this stamp layer to be above the rest of the layers. Stamp layer 3, yes, perfect. All right, now we're gonna go through and we're gonna start adding the shade. I said I was gonna start adding the shade, but there's another thing I have to do first. I have to add these water spots to this map, because that's another thing that I noticed about this like really dark water, is that these sunspots look so cool with this really dark water. There we go. I think that adds a lot of detail to like the middle of the pond, where I felt like we were missing a little bit of detail. So the shoreline looks a little bit, I'm like taking a second look here, guys, and I feel like we may have just added a little bit too many props, because let me go ahead and remove this one. Let me remove this one up here, and then let me remove a couple of these, because if we add too much, then it's going to make our map seem overwhelming and cluttered, and that's what I don't want. So I'm taking a objective look. It looks good. Let me see. I'm thinking about removing this tree, but I don't want to remove this tree. Maybe if I remove that, or the purple that we have around these lily pads, it'll add a little bit more detail. I'll also remove that up there, because I feel like we have a little bit too much going on right now. Let me remove these props right here. And then let me also remove these green clovers. And let me also remove, no, I'll keep those green clovers down there. And then I'm looking through the map. I still feel like it's a little bit cluttered, but I don't think it's as bad as it was. All right, let me add all of the shade. And then after I add all the shade, we'll come back through and we'll see how it looks. There we go. And what do you guys think? Like, I added shade underneath the bridges to add a little bit more depth to it. I actually think I may end up removing the shade around the lily pads because I feel like that makes our map a little bit too dark. So there we go. Yeah, that looks so much better by removing the shade from around the lily pads. But I think that looks pretty solid. I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove this shade over here, and I'm gonna remove the bench because I feel like the bench really doesn't belong. And I'm kind of debating on whether or not I should add some shrubs around this water fountain. Like, I kind of want to, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to, because we could actually place towers around this water fountain. So if we place like shrubs, then we add like a bunch of different props around the water fountain, then it's gonna make it so like we can't place towers there. And I feel like that would make the map a little bit too hard. But I don't know, dudes. Like, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, do you guys think like the map is a little bit too cluttered? Like, should I have left out all of the flowers, or should I have like left out some of these trees? I'm not exactly sure, but for the most part, I do kind of generally like the way that this map looks. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to choose a background effect. So for the background effect, let's go ahead and we'll add the cherry blossoms that are like falling through the sky. And then for the music, I'm not sure what I want to use for music yet. You know what? I think for the music, I'm going to use Winter Nights Chill. Now you guys probably can't hear it because it's like a super quiet song, but it kind of has like a Minecraft vibe to it. All right, dudes, now that we've pretty much finished with our map, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, like, what do you guys think of the remastered version of a Bumsuckers map? Obviously, we still have a couple more things to do, like we have to name our map as well as we need to beat our map. Now, as always, I will be playing on easy standard because, of course, I do want to challenge you guys to actually beat this on Chimps. So if you guys would like to play this map for yourself after I beat this map, I will be sharing the code. But while we are going through beating this map, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the series. You guys are absolutely crushing it. That being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that like button. Also, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe as well because I do upload daily BTD6 videos. And also, if you guys have any maps that you guys would like to see me remastered, or if you guys have created a map yourself that you guys want to see me remaster, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And if it's a map that gives me a lot of inspiration, I'll definitely go ahead and remaster it. Or if you guys just want to see me create a map in general, again, please feel free to leave a comment below. And again, if it's something that I feel like I can do, I will definitely make it happen. But dudes, what would you guys rate this remastered map between 1 and 10 bananas? Would you guys rate it 1 banana as in a really bad sour banana? Or would you guys rate it 10 bananas for being a absolutely outstanding, perfectly yellow ripe banana? Now, another thing I want to test, can I place wizard monkeys on top? I can. This is so perfect. This is exactly why I placed these inner tubes so close to the pathway, because we can go ahead and upgrade to guided magic, and then we can buy wall of fire, and then our wizard monkey will actually be able to do damage to these balloons. And I thought that was so cool. Yup, so these inner tubes are working exactly the way that I want them to work. This is actually perfect. Like, dudes, the more I'm looking at this map, the more I'm actually liking it. And the more I feel like I didn't go too overboard with the props. Like, I was a little bit worried that I went a little bit overboard with all of the flowers. But, like, I feel like it really fits the theme of this map being, like, a super bright, yet kind of like a dark map that has like a cherry blossom garden feel. Now, one thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to come up with a little bit of a different name, because we can't just call it like Bumsuckers map, like, because Bumsucker ended up forgetting to like name his map. So we can come up with our own unique name for this map, and I think I have the perfect name for this map. All right, so here we are with the Moab balloon, and yeah, that Moab balloon didn't stand a chance. So there we go, dudes, we have officially beaten this map. So a cool name for this map that I thought would like kind of fit the theme would be Cherry Blossom Garden, because we have a lot of the cherry blossom trees, and we have like a really like a pink feel to this map. And I thought this name really suited this map. So now that we've named our map, the last thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and share our map. So if you guys would like to play this map for yourself, here is the code. But anyways, dudes, I just want to say thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.